thing that drives me crazy is the ear hair.
Oh, konnichiwa!
Oh, Daddy used to make me cut the hair out of his ears.
Yeah. How about out of his nose?
Made me crazy. Yeah, that too.
Now they got a tool she can do that with. But I mean, you know, you do the nose one, and like it grabs the hair. It's a hell of a thing to put on a face.
Oh, Johnny.
But it grabs your hair in there and it twists it, actually pulls it out.
Ow.
It does not feel good.
Oh, Johnny and a friend actually bought Ed one of those little gadgets you do on that. It's a joke, but it's a good tool.
What was that?
One of those things for the nose hair and the ear hairs and all
Oh.
that stuff.
Oh, this will be the last time you see me with this on, too.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to cut it out.
Well, Greg grew his because he got sick and he just couldn't
Yeah,
do
I
anything.
just shaved down here today. It was driving me nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hasn't seen a
That's
barber
really
since
bad
before
down
we
there.
left.
I know when I do my bikini line, it drives me nuts when I don't do it.
Oh! Oh my God, you know, Johnny, we should talk about Harvey just because he's not here.
Oh, Harvey.
Harvey, it's not Mormonism. It's Latter-day Saints.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it's the most wonderful religion, and it gets along. John and I get along in that church. We love the people in that church. We read scripture. There's not anything that you do that we don't do and more.
And besides that, talking about scriptures, we got 4 books to go by. The Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, the Holy Bible.
New and Old Testament.
Unfortunately, it's King James Version.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And
I'd rather have the original.
Price of Great World.
I'd rather have you
So
two.
in other words, we go by 4 scriptures. What do you all the rest of you go by? 1. There used to be the Henry VIII version.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
are we
all I'm
through
going to
talking
say
about
on that
Harvey?
sub. Harvey. But anyway, Merry Christmas and Gung Hei Fat Choi.
Harvey and I he was going to drive me out to Louisiana from California when I stayed with them for a week.
He was going to drive you out
He
here?
was going, and we didn't have anything to talk about. Every time I talk to him, it's like I'm on an interview. and I don't know what to say to him, ever. So I don't. He makes me nervous. He's judgmental.
You two were best friends when you were young.
Harvey and I, we used to take baths together. And then when we started getting
Well, the
older,
three of us
Daddy said
actually
no
did.
more. No more baths. You have to have your own individual bath. I don't know why Harvey and I had such a good time. Remember when the 3 of us used to get in the bathtub with Daddy?
Yeah. How'd we do that? That was
Remember when Harvey took a dump? And we all had to get out of the
I
bathtub.
remember that.
And Daddy had to get that big log out of there. We had 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms, one for Mom and Dad, and then there's 3 of us. Do you know that Willette and I had a room, and she put a line right down the middle?
Is she serious?
Yeah.
Right down the middle, and
Because she wouldn't keep her place beside clean.
Wow.
You wouldn't make your bed.
Oh, gee.
Really?
Yeah, I know you don't make your bed. Of course, now I don't make my bed. I just get up.
I remember when Willette had nothing but pink in her wardrobe. She says she didn't, but I know
Yeah,
for a
I
fact she
remember.
did.
I remember.
You do?
Yeah. Pink.
It was all pink.
It's all
Everything you owned. Pink.
Pink.
Well, I made my own clothes too, so I could do that.
Oh.
Today you can't afford to make your own clothes.
No.
It's too
Is this stuff
expensive.
got to go out to other people?
Yeah.
Even when I said about the King James?
Yeah.
I felt good. But you know, I mean, there's so many different Bibles that are actually today.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, they're pretty much, you know, along the same lines, but there is still differences in them.
So who's telling the truth? We don't know anything about Jesus.
I do.
No, we don't. We don't
I
know
do.
anything from birth until he was 25 years old, until he was 33 when he died. And
Mary was looking for him, and she was concerned about him, and he was extremely young. And they found him, and Mary asked him about, you know, what was he doing? He said, I'm doing my Father's work, and that is in the Bible.
oh, so that makes it so.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the Henry VIII decided to put that in there. I don't know. But the
Is that
thing
why they
is,
call it the King James Version?
Yeah.
Henry VIII?
Uh-huh.
they initially started as Henry VIII, and then I think it was about 200 years later, lasted King James. So he decided he wanted to change it. So now it's
He
King
wanted his own
James
Bible.
Well,
King James version. But the thing is, if you look at the original Bibles and the Dead Sea Scrolls and everything that you know has come about, how much of that was left out that these guys did not?
oh,
want
I
in there?
know.
A lot,
I
because I've
way
read
too
3
much.
different versions for the same verse.
You know something else that's really interesting? Somebody could not preach in the temple unless they were married.
That's right. You
And
couldn't be a
Jesus
rabbi.
did.
So Jesus had to be married.
Unless he and Mary Magdalene were.
Well, no, he had to be married. Period. There was no exception. So of course he was married. They didn't say
Maybe,
anything
I
about,
don't know. I mean, if you go by that whole Jewish thing,
and
he
he
had
was
to be.
Jew.
at least, you know, somebody decided just to put that in the Bible. You know, I don't know, but I mean, it just, but they, but in order for him to actually go into the temple and preach,
He had to be married.
married.
So when they say Jesus was married, and you go, ha ha ha, he was.
As far, yeah, but you don't, I mean, yeah, if you look at the Jewish law and stuff, right? But who knows for sure, because we weren't there.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the devil's been around for dadgum so long, and he's such the big liar. He tells stories that make us do what he thinks we should do, the
Yeah,
devil.
That's what I say.
And so I think a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is just all a big lie. I think the church shouldn't even be here.
I know.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's really bad, though, is, you know, like I say, it's how much had been written over the years, right? Well, with the disciples and all, that, you know, somebody looked at it and said, no, we don't want this in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So they took it
it
out.
gets censored out.
Like
Oh, I know, there's a lot of stuff.
like the Ten
I mean, there's an
Commandments.
awful lot of stuff.
What's the name of the book that I keep wanting to read? You remember?
No.
Enoch.
That's not
The
Enoch.
book,
That's
the
it.
Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
That's all about outer space people.
Yeah,
They
that's
say
what I wanna
Jesus is coming back on a UFO.
Oh, God.
That's
give me
what
a
they
break.
say.
read. Back in the time of
I've seen UFOs. In 74, the same ones that Ronald Reagan saw in 74.
You saw that?
You couldn't miss it. They were over the freeway 101. Anyone from Carpenter on the freeway to Goleta was gonna see them.
I know
I've seen a lot of them.
I know Ronald Reagan definitely did see him.
I saw something shine in my window that was so big it was ridiculous.
Probably.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, it was probably a Lugaroo.
Oh,
It wasn't, well, what?
I mentioned this in high school, and the kid that I
What's that?
It exists down here, believe me.
Yeah.
Well, Lugaroo, I guess, is kind of a version of a werewolf. And actually, a guy went out, and it's been on TV, is that they actually have the footprints of it. I mean, it's like a normal footprint, but instead of being just round and that's the end of it, it has claws.
I mean,
The
big
act-
claws.
They've actually found spots where he bent it down.
What the people used to do is scare their kids to go to sleep by saying, if you don't go to sleep, the Rougarou is going to come and get you. And so it was a fable.
Sure not, it really isn't.
But it's not, it's real. But it used to be like a skinwalker.
Yeah.
turning into
But
from
I
a
mean,
human
but
to a.
but
Rougarou.
but it's like,
But it's
I
just-
never heard it called that.
but it is a Lougarou. Out here, it's a Lougarou because Lougarou-
Mexico, it's called something else.
Louparou down here is French for a werewolf.
Okay, so this
But
is
Lougarou
Louisiana
is-
mainly.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We better stay indoors and keep those cats in.
Oh, no, yeah. that'd be all right. The only thing is.
We do.
Well, I mean, the thing is that, you keep your cats in, the only thing that you really have to worry about is when those chicken hawks are out.
Yeah, that's why we don't let
Or
them
my
out.
dogs.
They wanted out today though. They were looking out the back door, and I think they saw the birds over there. Did you say they saw some birds?
Oh, you could hear the birds. you know.
Beware.
In the morning, you can hear them when you get up in the morning
It
after
sound-
rain. Oh yeah, you just hear
It
them all
sounded like
over
they had
the
a bunch of
place.
spills
Especially
out
the
there.
cardinals when they start hanging around. Fantastic.
I love cardinals. We have cardinals here.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know
they're
there's
all
some
over the
in
place.
Texas where Jane and Johnny.
We have
John and
every
Janie
bird.
are. I got it.
We have,
Jane and Johnny.
Because like over at our place, though, after good rain and stuff, cardinals all over the
I
place.
love cardinals. They sound so beautiful. They have a
do.
different song.
And then you
than
got
the-
Bob White's here too.
Ooh.
You can hear him. But see, when you got out in the country, or you probably hear coyotes and stuff too.
Haven't heard any coyotes. It wouldn't,
you
we've
might.
heard coyotes being.
Have you
in
ever heard a
California.
lion? Is it a
There's
mountain
one.
lion?
There are mountain lions here?
They scream.
No, when I was up at
Idlewild?
no,
No.
up at
Or Chicago Park.
no, where we worked,
Oh hell, I don't know.
Millhouse.
Oh yeah.
I was at I was watching all these girls that were put there by the courthouse, and I heard this scream. It sounded like a banshee.
You sure it was? Is you sure it wasn't the peacocks?
No, actually, it wasn't at Millhouse. It was at the other one I did.
Oh,
And I
okay.
went and worked and woke up one of the patients. What do you call them?
The kids.
The kids, because I was scared. It sounded just like a banshee. I mean, I was scared to
yeah,
death.
they have a really
Yes.
weird scream, don't they?
Yes, and if you don't know what it is, it's terrifying.
Well, remember when we lived in Idlewild, we'd hear lots of strange noises up there.
But that.
Of course, you saw all
that
the
was-
ghosts.
I saw you
But
had
this whole
ghosts
thing with
everywhere.
this whole thing with the legal is the American natives believed in it. That were here in this area, throughout this whole area.
Oh yeah, the Indians definitely
and the
believed in
Spaniards,
it.
when they came here, they believe in it. And then, of course, when the French came, bango, there you are. So how do you explain that one?
Wow,
A lot of
wow.
people have seen them. But, let's see,
Oh, there's a lot of scary
down around,
things here.
down around Slidell and Honey Island, I would say down there it's more of a Sasquatch.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Well, you've seen a lot of ghosts too because of the Civil War,
Not really.
right? I thought Johnny told me that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of ghosts, yeah, but
You see a lot of you go to New Orleans and there's certain streets where you can see them walking down the street.
Imagine what I'd see.
Oh man, he sees.
I know he does.
He needs-
Remember when we went to what's his name's mansion up in the mountain?
Mansion?
Yes, the newspaper guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hearst.
Huh? Hearst.
That isn't the mountains, that's just a little small mold hills.
Okay, we went up to Hearst Castle, me and Greg, and we were going through the pool area, and he was seeing all these things. Greg's a seer. I'm a all around looker.
Oh man, they attack you.
Yeah,
She
They
had-
almost
do.
killed you once.
She had that happen.
Yeah, I know. She told me back on the boat, right?
Gettysburg.
Gettysburg.
Oh, Gettysburg.
Gettysburg.
Yeah, but back on the boat. What was the name of that boat when you were up north in California?
We didn't have a boat on during
Well, it's not a boat. Naval ship.
Oh, the Hornet.
Yeah, the Hornet.
No, they were on
We
the boat.
were Doson's on the USS Hornet. The Hornet's the one that went to bomb Japan after Pearl Harbor. But that one,
Did you get that wrong?
But we were on the newer one.
But
And
the
it was
newer
haunted.
one, they named
People-
another one.
Oh.
All the ships that are they're not dry docked, that are docked, all the service guys that died, they go back there. I saw one in our cabin, and I went to check him out, and he was on there. He was a pilot. We were in the pilot section,
He got shot
Oh.
down too.
and I told him, I said, he's welcome to come home with us.
Oh.
He did.
Oh.
He came home with us.
Wasn't bad.
No, he was a nice, good looking.
Whoa.
But he was a pilot that was shot down. He wasn't even sure that he was dead, so yeah.
Oh.
But we took pictures of him.
Did you tell him he was
Yeah.
dead?
Oh, yeah. And
Right.
I also told him he did not have to live on the
Go to the
Hornet.
light.
That he
Oh.
could live anywhere he wanted or to go to the light.
Well, I
Go to
saw
the spirit
it's like the
world.
ghost at the KPLM radio station. And she was scaring everybody to death. She had aneurysm, died right there in the station, and everybody was feeling her around there and seeing her, and they'd stand in line to get water, and they'd feel somebody behind them or something.
Really?
Yeah, and so one of the guys who was also one of my students at College of the Desert, he was telling me all the things that used to happen to him because she was kind of like a guidance for him, and he would take that stuff you put in your lip. What's it called?
Yeah.
Tobacco.
Excuse me, I gotta take, that shoe? I gotta take these shoes off, my feet are getting too hot.
Okay. Anyway, she used to throw things out of the boxes at him because she was mad at him for putting that tobacco in his mouth.
Old chew?
Yeah, old shoe.
No, that's what they call it, they put that
Oh, the
tobacco.
chew. Yeah,
No,
chew.
chew.
Old
Chew.
shoe. And
The
so
Q.
he says, one time we were in the studio together, he says, I see her over there.
Yeah.
And because I can't see them, but I talk to them and feel them, okay? And so I called her name. She didn't know who I was because I didn't work there when she was there. And I called her name, and to me, she was standing in the doorway. And I told her that I would make sure he doesn't do that anymore, that he's a bad boy. And that it's okay that she died with an aneurysm there at the station. And all she needs to do is to look for the light and
Yeah.
walk into the light. And nobody ever saw her again. So she found her way home.
There's a lot of people that don't know.
That's all I did was tell her that and look for the light and follow the light and go home.
Well,
When we were at Gettysburg, we stayed in this, whose house was it? Hills?
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was a Confederate headquarters during the war, and then they had a hospital there too.
we had dinner at the house. It was very nice. We went to bed, and when everything was off, we heard
And
the
quiet.
steps. We heard steps go from his side to my side.
Whoa!
My heart. But he kissed her.
I
I
think
mean,
she kissed
she
me.
she kissed him, and
No
it was really
kidding.
cold.
Really cold, but I got kissed by
Oh
a goat.
man. I
Scared
didn't
me
know
to
that.
death. I mean, you could hear him. It was just like,
Like they were, and then you can hear all these, because if you're walking with your canteen and all that stuff, you get the bang, ka-bang, ka-bang. Hear that stuff all night long.
but he took out Grant and Robert E. Lee's picture and
Stonewall Jackson.
Jackson's picture, and they went away. They went away. But when we were
They
getting
quit
ready to
going.
leave, I was watching Gods in General on the television, and I heard a crowd of people coming this way. You could hear them talk.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it was like more than 4. and they were just coming through. I'm gonna leave. I think I'm
Oh,
starting.
that reminds me of when we were kids, when we heard
Oh,
talking
well,
outside
we
our
grew up in a haunted
window.
house.
We did.
I
On
know.
a haunted hill.
No.
We used to lay in bed. We weren't even in high school
No.
yet. And I wouldn't sleep with her because
We
I
heard
heard it
somebody
going on in
dragging.
my room and scared the dickens out of me. So I went to her room, and then it was right outside her window, and we heard all this. Sounded like digging going on out there. And talking.
Dragging.
Yeah.
Who got murdered in there?
Well, that house was.
I mean, as much as I hate to say it, but
It's not very old. That's
I
the
think
thing.
it was one night I looked out the window and they had candles hanging from the trees. Not candles, the whole bit. Lanterns. And people were dressed like antebellum. And they were just everywhere having a party in our backyard. I got up in the window and looked down at them and they all came up like this and came like this.
Come out and party with us.
A lot of people don't know
That was
this,
weird.
but children, for the most part, have PSI. They all got the psychic ability, and they can even talk to spirits.
So kids, little kids can.
Yeah, little kids,
Yeah, because they're
5,
close
6,
to,
they,
life and death there.
So if you want, you can have a kid go to your ghost and talk to them. But a lot of these ghosts, they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
No, because they like
But I tell you
scared
what,
people.
if you see any black X's around, painted or whatnot, walk away.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
all hog
voodoo.
into voodoo.
Oh.
Stay
And
away from the
voodoo's
black X.
everywhere here.
There's something,
It's a black X. And where I take you to this plantation, what's the name of that plantation?
No, it's full of them.
What?
It's full of them out there. I'm not going back on that
Well, you don't
plantation.
have, nobody invited you.
Poor John.
No, well, you can, and somebody died there, the main guy, the head of the
What,
slaves.
the overseer?
The overseer. It's in the hospital. These great big old X's. And they got people in them.
Yeah,
And
but you wouldn't see it. I blew it up just for the heck of it, and you could definitely see distinct faces in that.
we saw them change.
Oh my goodness.
We saw them change. In one of the plantation, there is a death mask.
Oh, that's that.
death
Where
mask.
we ate that time. Well, it's really
I
weird
remember.
about what she's talking about, right? Well, there was this gal, she was, take you through, and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah,
she was in the
hostess.
in the the gentleman's part, but there was like a pool table in there too, right? You could still smell the cigar smoke.
Oh.
But anyway, to make a long story short, I took a couple photos of her, right? Everything's in focus except for her.
Yeah,
Mm.
she wasn't even there.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
But
I mean,
that's okay.
a lot of weird stuff happens down here. But if you start running into a bad experience, right? Put salt around the openings of your door, right? And nothing evil can cross that.
Well, since I got a telescope, I also got all the filters to go with that. So you take those little filters and they clear things out a lot. You can see things that don't really exist.
Really? Ooh.
Don't
But they
mess-
do exist
Yeah,
Don't
but they
mess
do
with these
exist. You just
characters down
don't
here.
see them.
in a
Go on,
different
get-
realm.
She was the ultimate Ghostbuster, right? Every place she goes, is it haunted? She doesn't do that anymore. But what happened was, it started at Gettysburg. It honestly did, because the ground we were sleeping on, and basically the Yankees were in there. But I slept outside because I didn't want to sleep in that daggum tent. Well, she
It
came
got
out the
so
next
cold.
morning. She came out the next morning. Something threw me out of bed last night. Well, I figured,
Sure.
maybe she just rolled over, and fell out of the thing, right? So the next day, which was the 3rd, right? Right, and I went over and I did the whole thing with the
troops.
the march over, up to the angle and all that stuff with under armistice and did that. But I went back, and so anyway, and this thing was supposed to last till the 4th, I think. Yeah, it was supposed to last the 4th. And what happened was that I was sitting on this ice chest thing. Of course, I had it covered up, right? But it was sitting on top of that. She was kind of laying on the cot and so forth, but she was in the middle of it, right? Well, it was like something came up, and grabbed it like that, and whoop, she just, boom, that's it, we're out of here.
Whoa.
We did. We did.
We packed up, and we left on the 4th.
Yeah.
And it was still another day of battle left.
They were all Yankees, and we were not. We were the Southerners.
Oh, we
and we
were.
were right on top, and they were all Yankees around us.
Well, they wore Confederate uniforms, and most of them were from like
New York.
Jersey, New York,
Oh.
Pennsylvania.
Not
We
very
were-
nice.
And we were really the only ones out of the South. There was.
Oh, that sounds a little.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. I had to wear a damn Yankee blue uniform.
Oh.
John was marching with his platoon. You know how they just march around. He was about
But
this far from the last guy, and because of his back, his little frying pan and his little bowl and cup were clinking. And
Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
kind of hurrying up and couldn't catch up because his back was hurting. He's old.
Ow!
And he looked so funny with the clink, 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 clink.
yeah, she told me I looked like an old mule out there.
Oh.
Like an old mule, he
No.
did.
Oh.
But that was my old mule.
But really though, it wasn't funny with her though. I mean, it really got ugly. with her,
Oh.
I'm saying. So I took her to a priest.
Wow.
I mean, it
That
was
bad.
It was that bad. But he said that she wasn't possessed, but there was something there that definitely had a hold on her.
Oh my God.
And then she was
Johnny.
all right after that. But I mean, we landed at Atlanta Airport. You go ahead and tell this because I sent her after some coffee.
Whenever
Next thing
his
I know,
mother
she
died,
was
we
on
went
the
out
floor.
there. And so we stopped at Dallas's airport and we had a layover and we went in and ordered a cup of coffee and my coffee came up. So I went to get it and when I turned around it's like somebody tied my shoelaces together and I turned around and tripped and fell again and somebody threw my head on the floor.
No.
No, everybody saw it. This one guy comes up and he says, "Weren't you embarrassed?" I go, "About what?"
What can you
About
say?
what?
You didn't do anything.
No. Somebody tied my shoes and wanted to hurt me.
But her shoes weren't tied. But there was something there that wanted to hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was after.
Why?
Because see, sometimes the bad boys, like say if you had like surgery or something like that, and you're weak or whatever,
Yeah.
for whatever, well, they're more apt to grab hold of you than if you were healthy.
Oh.
And I just had,
Back surgery, I think it was. Yeah, it's right after that.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't know. I mean, see, like back here out in California, yeah, you got those things, but not like
Not
that.
like
Yeah,
you.
not like this.
no. You guys have got, this plantation has, after, it's real pretty. You got the main house, you got the hospital.
The main
you-
house you can't go into
You
because
can't go in.
that's off to the side somewhere.
And then you have these little huts that the slaves lived in. And they're still all there. They're still all there. And
Cotton shin's still there.
yeah, everything's still there as it was. And you get that feeling as you're walking through the slaves' quarter. Slaves' quarter.
You smell dog on me?
She must be hungry. It's 4:00.
There was a voodoo priestess that dwelt there. And you could feel her.
Come up here.
And they did an archaeology
Archaeology.
dig.
She's checking
And they were
it out,
looking for
John.
stuff, and they found all kind of artifacts. the witch can give you a potent that you put it right inside your door, and if you go play a game of cards, you'll win because of this potion.
Potion? Huh.
Well, there's some
Oh,
crazy,
you're
there's some
smelling,
crazy
smelling
stuff
John's
that goes
shoes
on
now,
down here.
huh?
But the thing is, with a lot of times, where it really kind of got bad with the slavery issue here, I wasn't so much in this area, but like you had like, you know, a lot of,
Missy.
when the cotton start playing out in Alabama, Mississippi and stuff, they start moving over here, you know, and planting things, and then it kind of got sort of ugly then, but the original thing, I gotta find it, but it was the original slave code thing. But they got Sundays off to go to mass, right? The overseer had to be Catholic. You could not split a family up. And what was really amazing, there was a bunch of other stuff there too, but what was really amazing to me, I'll say 10 days, it was a little bit more than that, I couldn't give you an exact figure.
Come here.
But say if you were
Come
a
here.
slave and you took off, as long as you were back on that 10th day, you could not be punished as a runaway. But the thing is, what was bad here before they went into the sugar cane thing was it was indigo. And a lot
Indigo.
of people died from that indigo.
Poison.
Oh, man. Oh, that's sad.
But
Yeah, they didn't know it was poison. So.
but you know, it really gets me is that this whole thing on slavery. Yeah, I'm not going to say there wasn't abuse, it's because there was. But the thing is, if you go out and pay $2,000-3,000 at that time for a house mouse or a field hand or whatever, well, you know, I mean, equivalent today, that'd be well over $100,000.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you go in, you buy, you know, buy your slave, you take him home and stuff. But guess what? Now that's your private property, right? You have to pay taxes on that private property.
Oh, you're kidding.
You
I
have to
wish I
clothe them, you have to feed them,
Uh-huh.
you have to house them, you have to do it all. There's a list like that. So they
But I-
worked the fields and they sang their songs, and
Swing low.
here in Louisiana,
If I was a slave, I would have never
Mississippi's
been
different.
enslaved
Come on.
here than anywhere else.
she's hungry.
Well, a lot of these slaves, they managed to acquire enough money to buy their own freedom, and they really did us a
Missy.
favor.
They couldn't buy their freedom.
No?
There
Now
we
see
go.
what the Lee family used to do, right? Is if they had a black on their plantation, there was a, you know,
That's
was a
Missy,
black
right?
blacksmith or a barrel maker had a trade. They would free them. That's a lot of things people don't know about the Lee. Abraham Lincoln owned slaves.
Oh, this I didn't know.
Yes.
His wife did.
Because, yeah, but see, a woman could not own property at that time. So when Lincoln married Mary Todd,
Oh, okay.
those slaves now become his. And
Oh,
guess
okay.
what? When the damn Yankee Army came through the South, right? Well, anywhere they came into after Emancipation Proclamation, they had, you know, the slaves, right, were free. Period, right? But yet in Kentucky and Maryland, they weren't free until the end of the war.
Now what do? They have to do all the things that they were given, but they have to go out and do it themselves. And they're used to being ordered around, so they couldn't think for
Yeah.
themselves. So it was a hardship on them.
But a lot of them know that, you know, the sharecropping thing kicked in. So a lot of them stayed. And actually during that war, is that you know, that those former slaves kept the big houses and stuff from being burned down by the damn Yankee Army. In fact, they did more harm in this state than any other state in the South.
Oh.
They did a job on New Orleans.
Well, yeah, but New Orleans, they should have sick.
General Beauregard has a house that he put his wife in right across the street from
convent.
a convent.
Oh.
And we went in there, and the host, I asked him, I said, "Are there any ghosts in this house?" Oh, he said, "Oh, absolutely not." He says, "I live right up there." And I said, "You have seen no ghosts?" As he was saying that, the door open by itself.
Yeah.
And there was no wind or anything, it just opened,
Oh.
And people
Somebody
have
went
walked
through.
down
You
the
want to
street.
bet?
and it shut.
People would walk down the street and they were having parties. You could see the lights and the big dresses going round and around with a band.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that's the way it is in a quarter. Is stay away from Bourbon Street.
Just stay away
a-
from everything down there.
Well, didn't we drive down Bourbon Street when we
Yeah.
went down
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
The only trouble is with New Orleans is you've got to stay where the crowds are, and that's Bourbon Street. And,
Don't go out by
there's
yourself.
Another one. You
There's
don't want to
devils
get off,
down there.
You don't want to get off on those side streets. The chances are, 2 days before she and I were down there that last time together, well, except when she had cancer, it was a little different. But before all that, but 2 days before we went down there the last time to really stay, somebody shot and killed a priest.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you know.
We were walking home to our room down in the quarter, and him and I, we were walking down. There was 2 black dudes. One started to go this way, and one started to go that way, and John went up like this. Yeah, but you know what? So did I. Come on, you don't scare me. And then all of a sudden,
They took off
yeah, there was a cop down there.
Oh good.
down the street.
But we stayed in
Man, you
a.
might not be here today.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm not
but I-
worried. This man could take on anybody. He's
I mean,
a
I look at it
Vietnam
this
vet.
way. I look at it this way. When the time
He's a
comes,
Vietnam vet?
No,
Yeah.
but he knows how to do stuff.
Oh,
you
I know he
wouldn't
does.
believe.
I mean, when the time comes, the good Lord wants you. No matter what you do, you're going to go.
Yep.
True.
But
I
I'll
got
take
it.
one of them with me.
I got to tell you, for somebody who didn't know what to say to a video, we've done pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's
Do
say
you
bye bye.
think this would go to Harvey?